My name is Richard Nash, and I have worked a lot with startups, both running them myself and now mostly helping them with strategic and product and go-to-market strategies. I also do some work for corporations, publishers, even sometimes authors.
And here in the context of Frankfurt and its business club programming, you're going to be doing a couple of events. Could you tell us a bit about those?
Yeah, so tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to be doing something called Group Therapy for Innovators.
Okay.
And it's an effort to sort of recognize that it's tough being a startup, or it's tough starting a new business within an existing legacy business. And sometimes what's tough about it is that you can't tell the truth.
Okay.
You always have to be optimistic.
Who are you lying to, yourself or to the public? Or to your investors?
Sometimes both.
Okay.
It could be to the public, it could be to potential partners, it could be to your family, and it could be to yourself.
Okay.
And so it's an opportunity for people to speak openly about the challenges that they face in doing it and to feel more together, because typically everybody is going through this alone, but there's hundreds of people doing it alone, and this is an effort to try to bring a small group together so that people can share their war stories.
And you did this last year as well.
I did.
Was there a memorable story that came out of that you can share without identifying the guilty party?
The most memorable dimension of it was that 45 people came.
Okay. It shows the need there.
It shows the need, exactly. And so this time, unfortunately, what we had to do was make people sign up in advance so that we know the group would be small enough so that people could speak more intimately.
Indeed. And the New Media Summit is a new event that Frankfurt is hosting this year.
And it's a pan-European. It's part of a pan-European project to look at media around the entirety of the EU.
Okay.
And they're zeroing in on the book dimension of media in conjunction with the Frankfurt Book Fair.
Okay. You're Irish, but based in New York City?
That's right. So I'm there officially representing the American point of view.
Okay.
But I think sometimes what helps me represent the American point of view is that I'm not really fully American myself.
You're sympathetic to the European disposition.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I think they're trying to get at is to balance the prerogatives of culture, of technology, and capitalism all at once. How do we balance those? Because different cultures take different approaches to it.
Privacy has become a huge issue, particularly in this regard, and a big theme at this particular fair this year is the number of data analytics companies that are coming on the scene now. There are at least 3 or 4 talking about machine learning, artificial intelligence. This is way beyond big data. This is now getting into sci-fi a little bit. Well, where does this issue with Europe and the data mining intersect? Particularly as we've now seen the digital adoption rates jump, in Europe, and now they have an actual pool of data to mine.
Yeah.
And this is it's going to be a kind of bigger issue, I anticipate.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm interested in talking about is the limitations of algorithms.
Oh, okay.
Increasingly, we are focusing on algorithms that I like to say do filter. They try to reduce all the noise, the hundreds of millions of songs, the tens of millions of books, the hundreds of thousands of movies, into a small number to make it easier to try to make a selection. And I am trying to advocate for what I prefer to call map, as opposed to filter.
Oh, okay.
The power of map is that it doesn't take away information. It just organizes it in a way that allows you to be able to navigate yourself.
Right.
And I think that that's not just a pragmatic thing around what a startup should do or an e-commerce company should do. I think that connects to larger society.
Right. Because if you're just simply filtering and you're becoming reductive, it's like taking a forest and saying, these 4 plants are sustainable,
Exactly.
But there's an entire bibliodiversity
Exactly.
at your disposal. So why eliminate something just because one instance in one algorithmic
Exactly.
transaction doesn't reject it?
And it connects, I think, also, because that's exactly right, I think it connects also to the ways in which people don't want to be defined by simply a set of data points.
Right.
There is more to me. You know, one of the great errors made by Mark Zuckerberg in Facebook was him saying that a person should only have one identity. We don't have just one identity.
Right.
And the internet, when it works well, is beautiful in that it ought to allow multiple identities to exist.
Well, the nice thing about a map image is you can get lost on a map, which is
Yes.
part of the joy of serendipitous book discovery. Right?
Precisely.
And that's
Precisely.
there's your analogy right there
Precisely.
in some ways.
Precisely.
Interesting. Thank you so much for your time. This
My
has been
pleasure.
good.
Thanks.